Ladies and gents, welcome to yet another Free Friday Lunch webinar. It's our 20th webinar. We started this in September 2022. And today we are touching or covering briefly, I must add, the topic of embracing diversity in the workplace. Just before we kick off, I head up an organization called Soldati, as well as Soft Skill Solutions. For those of you who don't know me, just quickly from a housekeeping point of view, thanks once again for being here and lending me your ears. Please mute unless you ask a question. And if you can park the questions till the end, it will be great if possible. I'll allow for more or less 5 minutes of that after the presentation. Please mail me if you want to be added to the distribution list. For those of you who haven't done so yet or indicated that to me. And you're also welcome to mail me this afternoon if you urgently need a copy of today's recording. Otherwise, you'll get it towards the end of next week. It will be loaded on our website. I'll get into that just now. And also, please mail me your future topics. I want to pause here for a second. After 20 different topics, I'm kind of running out of ideas. And I would love to hear from you, and I've done it in the past, to cover topics that you feel are pertinent, things that you are finding challenging in your life, so that we can cover it and all of us learn more from what we cover through these webinars. Right, so just a couple of disclaimers. I do not have the magic wand. I wish I had, but I do not. I would like to give you different perspectives around the topics that we discuss, and hopefully those different perspectives will lead to you doing things differently better. If you have missed out on previous webinars, please go to the resources tab on our website under insights, and you'll get all the previous vlogs posted there, like this one will be posted towards the end of next week. My invitation to you is to reflect on the content, especially where you believe there are specific areas where you need to do some more work. Right, let's kick off. We're talking about embracing diversity in the workplace. But in essence, we're really talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion. So what is the definition of those three concepts that are very much supportive of each other or complementary then and overlapping? Well, DEI is any policy, according to Built It, or practice designed to make people of various backgrounds feel welcome and ensure they have support to perform to the fullest of their abilities in the workplace. But I believe it all starts with diversity. If we can recognize and apply and believe in the concept of diversity, I think the other two concepts will flow from that. And what is diversity in the workplace? Well, it's simply having a workforce inclusive of different backgrounds and national origins. It means gender, socioeconomic, and cultural diversity and beyond, and the beyond we'll get to just now. It also means that the organization fosters a sense of belonging that makes everybody feel like they're part of the team. That's according to Better Up.
Difference is a fact of life, and as the world becomes more globally connected, it's something we're exposed to more than ever. But it's not just about people from different places or with different backgrounds. There are all sorts of differences, from sexual orientation to age to neurological differences such as autism and dyslexia. These differences can influence how we view people and how we behave as a result. Are you aware of how they influence you? As a project manager, equality, diversity, and inclusion aren't things that you do to others. They're as much about understanding yourself as they are about those around you. Rather than seeing difference as something to be feared, it should be something we embrace. A diverse team where everyone is encouraged to bring their whole self to work has the potential to yield brilliant results. while also developing and innovating ideas and approaches that challenge the status quo.
Just to confirm, it might be a little bit too late to ask, but everybody could hear that, right? All good? Anybody? Sound was good?
Yes.
Yes, I could hear.
Yes, we
Yes, we
can.
can hear.
Just wanted to check. Thank you very much. I did think I clicked the sound on button. Carrying on. We have to admit that if life was only about me, myself, and I, it would have been very boring. And frankly, we would have achieved suboptimal results. And just to name a few. And the question is why? Well, I think the simple answer is I certainly don't have all the answers. And if you had 8 billion Hekkies in the world, sure, the world would have been so much poorer. Because the reality is we all have something to contribute, right? We all have something unique to bring to the party to make what we are trying to achieve so much more successful, to reach what we want to reach so much quicker. And chances are that if you don't believe in diversity, that you're going to surround yourself with the people from the same background, from the same language, even maybe from the same town. And that would be a serious mistake. Coach Diversity Institute wrote a blog that I come across as part of preparing for today that covers the strategies for embracing diversity in the workplace. So what they cover in this part of the blog is why embracing diversity in the workplace is so critical. And they're saying whether from a lack of support, incomplete knowledge, or pushback from non-inclusive team members, not embracing diversity stands in the way of unlocking the benefits of a diverse workforce. So what are the benefits, you might ask? Well, there's a list of them, and they're listing the following: a larger talent pool of diverse people with different ideas, different views that might complement or will complement in terms of what you're trying to achieve in your organizations. Improved employee happiness, because everybody's heard, right? Everybody feel they belong. Higher customer loyalty, because your customers acknowledge the fact that you embrace diversity and equity and inclusion for that matter, and what they represent, or the way they are represented in their organizations, is represented in your organization. And then finally, better communication. Comfortable employees aren't afraid to speak up, allowing for better communication between departments and leadership teams, rather. According to impactmybiz.com, they quote the benefits of diversity in leadership being it enhances performance, it stimulates creativity, it increases profits, it improves retention, and finally, there's much stronger collaboration and teamwork in organizations. I think the biggest mistake I used to make, and the biggest mistake all of us make, actually, most of us, let me not stereotype, which is a key part of today's discussion in a sense, is that we all think diversity is about race. Because that's the easy one, right? But it's such a small element of the concept of diversity. Here's a large array of the types of diversity that's out there, and there might even be more. And race is only a small part of it. Look at all the rest. You can glance through it on your own. Unfortunately, we don't have time to cover them all, but the point is, race is such a small part of DEI. Diversity Tech wrote an article on the barriers to workplace inclusion and diversity. And they quote 4 barriers. The first one, very important one, unconscious bias, which refers to any associations made between different qualities, such as gender, race, and culture, without consciously being aware of it. Most commonly, it means that we automatically have a preference or affinity to those people who look like us, who do things like us. Secondly, a lack of role models. Because your ExCo group, for example, is not representative of our nation, as an example, it's a question of, I don't resonate. I don't have a role model because the people at ExCo level look different to what I look like. Thirdly, they talk about communication barriers. Whilst the more diverse workforce promotes a huge range of benefits, there also may be issues to iron out in the process. Businesses who hire a culturally diverse range of employees will find that there are communication problems amongst teams. Perhaps language barriers might appear, or cultural differences in timekeeping and personal life schedules. This can leave employees feel frustrated, excluded, and unheard. And maybe that's the reason why people don't want to employ a diverse workforce, as a result of the fear of potential communication barriers. And then finally, a lack of training. All of the above barriers are very common when trying to become more inclusive and diverse in a workplace. But the point is, we don't train our employees to think in the way that we should think, also including the stuff that we are covering through this webinar. Question you might ask is, does diversity actually work? Does it actually work? Well, there are many successful companies out there that absolutely embrace diversity, and there are just a few. So the short answer is absolutely it does work. No question. This is quite recent. You'll see it was written in March 2024 on a website called Beekeeper, and their CEO, and I'm not going to cover everything in detail, just touch on it. He documents 8 proven strategies to foster diversity and inclusion in the workplace. And before we get into the detail, the opening paragraph of the blog reads as follows: diversity in the workplace is essential to create a thriving business, especially when it comes to employee engagement. So important. Workplace diversity encourages creativity and innovation because every team member, from leadership to frontline employees and mobile workers, bring their own unique backgrounds, experiences, and perspectives to the table. And here are the 3, or rather the 8 ways to improve diversity in the workplace that he identifies. He says, address the unconscious bias issue that we just spoke about. Extend DEI to the hiring process. Make sure that you hire a diverse workforce, and that is part of your policies around recruitment. Thirdly, acknowledge intersectionality and cultural diversity. Now, I want to pause here for a second because I thought, what is intersectionality? Well, they explain it. Recognizing the complexity of individuals' identities and experiences, intersectionality plays a crucial role in understanding diversity and inclusion in the workplace. By acknowledging the interplay of various aspects or identity, organizations can cultivate a more comprehensive approach to fostering inclusivity and equity among employees. The next one he talks about is an ERG or ERGs, employee resource groups. And there's the stats that so many companies that actually have these groups are successful. And you might ask, what is it? Well, according to Indeed, an employee resource group or groups are voluntarily employee-led groups that promote a sense of belonging and support inclusivity within the workplace. ERGs. Invest in mentorship programs, number 5. Hiring a diverse workforce is important, but mentoring programs are a key component of workplace diversity programs to ensure that everybody has the opportunity to advance. Employees with high potential should be offered mentors regardless of their age, race, sex, and other factors of diversity. If a company-sponsored mentorship program isn't feasible for your company, there are other ways of providing similar opportunities. And then the use of employee surveys as feedback. Don't ignore what your employees are telling you, also around diversity, equity, and inclusion. Then mixing up teams, because if we do, we break down silos, we challenge group thinking, and we encourage the exchange of different perspectives. I don't know about you, but I can't see any flaw in that approach. And then finally, craft policies reflecting your values. We as a company will embrace diversity, equity, inclusion. We will not accept that we discriminate against people, etc., etc., etc. Write it into your policies and into your values.
Embracing diversity in the workplace, in a nutshell. It is important to recognise that the people you work with are likely to be a diverse mix of individuals. Keep this in the forefront of your mind when you are making decisions, addressing your team, writing policies, buying inappropriate training, and dealing with complaints. By doing this, you will help to create and nurture an environment where individuals feel respected and valued, which in turn will help to create a happy and confident team of people that are working well together, not in spite of their differences, but because of them. If people feel valued and cared for, then the chances are they will put more of themselves into their work. Research shows that organisations that have high levels of inclusion significantly outperform organisations that do not. You will be complying with the codes of practice set out in the Equality Act 2010. But don't just stop there. Make your policies working documents that are regularly referred to and updated. Mark important occasions like LGBT History Month or Transgender Day of Awareness. Have a diversity champion. Have World Food Day in the canteen. Make sure your diverse workforce know that you aren't just interested in ticking boxes, but that you really mean what you say. You as an individual will also reap the benefits from encouraging inclusion in your workplace. Allowing yourself as an employer to grow and learn from the people that you work with will enrich your life, both professionally and personally. Finally, and I found this to be really useful in all areas of my life, ask for help. Engage with other organisations and charities, ask questions, and take comfort in knowing that none of us will ever know all the answers.
So if I could give you one tip, it is to let go of your pride and your preconceived notions. You have to consider the following, that if you didn't know what the person looked like, where they come from, what their backgrounds are, etc., 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 and a very brilliant idea lands on your desk, would your approach be different in considering its implementation if you thought it's from somebody that looked like you and have all the other tick boxes ticked in terms of the way you are, where you come from, compared to a guy like that that's got a nose ring and a tattoo? You see, if we have preconceived ideas and notions around that, and we're not willing to let our pride go, we're going to find ourselves in a position where we're depriving ourselves from the best possible solutions, from the best possible outcomes. I love my dad. He's the greatest guy ever. He's my best mate across my whole life. He's still around, and he's an amazing guy. But he's got preconceived notions, also about people that have tattoos. You and I can't have that. You and I can't afford to carry those around. You see, if we don't embrace diversity in the workplace, fingers might be pointed to us around favoritism, around the fact that we are unfair towards some people. And probably the worst of all, the D word, that we are discriminating. See, it's never too late to do the right thing, to change the way we think about these things, to change our ways as part of leaving a lasting legacy that we are proud of one day. If you come to my office the next time, or our offices, you will see that sign against one of the walls in our reception area, trying to illustrate that we say welcome or hello in different languages. And in our country, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the biggest possible opportunity. I almost want to say that any country in the world has. We are right on top of the opportunity list around embracing and finding opportunities every single day to embrace diversity, equity, and inclusion. Otherwise, we can't say Sumunye. We are one. One of the guys that I coach, when I started my coaching journey with him and his colleagues, I asked them, what would you like to see in this world? and he told me I would like to see more unity. Beautiful. Beautiful. What you'd like to see in our country, I would like to see more unity. And I want to invite you to embrace diversity and to actively focus on uniting, on unity through diversity. Those of you who are part of my LinkedIn network and networks on social media would have seen that quote last week that I sent out. And I honestly mean this, bearing in mind that it's not only about race. I'm not interested in the color of your skin. I'm interested in the color of your soul. So let's unite as one human race to do what's right. And I would like to submit that what is right is for us to embrace diversity more, inclusion more, equity more. I was lecturing at, never sure if I should say this, but one of the top business schools in our country. I'm a faculty member in leadership and leadership skills. Facilitate the lecturer, and I was lecturing to a group of ladies, and they said they are so tired of this equity thing and the fact that there's so many preconceived ideas out there around women performing and being able to earn the same salaries as men, etc. And that night, Marley showed me an article which I fortunately could share with them again the next day because it was the second day of lecturing or facilitation. And that was about the Denmark male football team this week that said, forget it, we don't want a pay raise. We want you to give that money towards our women Denmark football team to ensure that they earn the same salaries as we do. Just a side note. So I want to encourage you to get out of your comfort zones, to do what's right, to get to a place where the magic happens, and to start opening up your mind more towards embracing these things that we're talking about. Because if you do, you might just be very pleasantly surprised as to what the outcomes are in your organization. Morale, happiness, engagement, open communication, I can carry on. And ultimately, it will translate into better results and do things like staff retention, those key guys that feel more welcome. And as a result, they're staying and they can so much more in the future add value to the spaces where you're operating. That is the end of our formal presentation session. Thank you very much. We're going to get to Q&A. And I know we only covered a little bit the top layer of this topic. If you would like, I want to invite you to click on Growth Solutions, go to Free Friday Lunch Webinars, and you'll see that I need to, first of all, update our website in terms of future topics, but I want to invite you once again to please help me with that and to send me topics that you would like me to cover. And I will update the website with the future topics, but it's on there if you want to register, or you can email me your email address. I'll add you to my standards distribution list. Next month, we're going to talk about being my own best friend, because you should be, because that's where it all starts. Right, I'm going to get into questions. If you haven't joined my LinkedIn network yet, please invite me to join yours. I would appreciate that. You will be on the receiving end of all the good stuff that we do at Soldati, and that we would like to share with you. And I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to get into question mode. And I don't know it all. Just a disclaimer. There are a lot of people on this call, on this webinar, that knows as much or more than I do about the topic, I'm sure. But please, let's open the floor for any questions for the last couple of minutes that we've got left together. Anybody? Hekkie, we're bold. We feel so guilty now because we're not doing actually this stuff, and we should be. We know that. Well, there's the challenge to you, if that's the case, if that shoe fits. We've got so many opportunities out there every single day to apply this stuff, to practice it. Yolandi, was that a question? I saw it unmute. I got excited.
Yes, there is a question. I'm not sure if it's the right one. I want to ask, how do you handle a situation where you've been with the company for quite some time, like 19 years, I would say, and you are looking for career opportunities within the company, and you apply and you get declined. But when you ask for feedback, you're not really given feedback. And then you apply again for another position. You go for an interview and you are a bit anxious because you want to know, how do I improve myself? But that feedback is not really given to you. So how do you navigate through those sort of challenges? And how do you then go back to the employer and say that, I'm not saying, give me something, but all I'm saying is that give me an opportunity for me to grow, and also give me feedback as to how do I position myself, you know?
Yeah. Well, may I ask a question on your question before I give you my thoughts and maybe open it up to everybody on the webinar? Do you think, without putting you on the spot, and I'm not sure if some of your colleagues are on this webinar, but do you think the organization supports DEI? Embrace it.
Yes and no. I think that they would like to believe that they support that. Maybe the pace is moving at a snail pace. I think that there is room for improvement, and you know,
yeah. So I've got my ideas, and we're out of time. But I'll tell you what I would do. If I get vague feedback, I would be more direct and have the crucial conversation and say to the feedback giver that, listen, this is not really helpful. Please help me and prepare me for the next opening. Please be more specific. And get to a point that you're getting feedback that you're comfortable in your own mind that this is something I can use for the next opportunity. I think what I'm trying to say to you, Melody, is don't accept a half message. Don't accept a half message. Anybody else before we close off, we're slightly over time, that might have another approach for Melody? Right, Melody, I hope that's helpful. I'm not sure it is, but yeah, hopefully that'll assist you. But don't accept. If we accept, we condone, and we say it's okay, but it's not okay. So have the crucial conversation, and if that means involving more people, do that. That's what I would like to propose to you, if it was me.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gents, we're out of time. Thank you once again for joining me. I hope to see you next month. I wish you all the best and success, not only with DEI and embracing it, but in your careers and what you do. And I wish you all the best, and have a great weekend as well.
Thank you, Hekkie.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks very much.
All the best.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, Hekkie. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Cheers. Bye.